Good morning, everybody. A pleasure to be here today. I'm Janae Hill. In my staff role, I'm the Director of Undergraduate Advising in the College of Business, Influence, and Information Analysis. And today I am here representing the Staff Advisory Council. And I would be remiss if I didn't introduce my colleagues as well, who also serve on the Staff Advisory Council. So I want to give a special nod to Christina Byers, Lorena Calderon, April Gray, and Robert Powers, who all serve on the Staff Advisory Council. So in the past semester in the fall, we had some fun by connecting everybody through lunch socials that the Staff Advisory Council sponsored. Through your help, we had a successful food drive for our own Grandma's Pantry, and we look forward to hosting some other fun events this spring that will be coming your way. Another note, we've been working hard to revision and kind of revitalize the Staff Advisory Council in hopes to make it a more inclusive and representative group to serve staff. And that's another thing that you'll be getting some more information on this spring. We will look forward to sharing some details with you on that and how you can join and be more involved in that effort and the Staff Advisory Council. So that's me, and now I want us to learn about our panelists for today. So I'm going to give the panelists each a chance to introduce themselves. Riley Odell, would you mind kicking it off for us?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Good morning, everyone. Riley Odell, I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations. Been in this role for 2 years now, but previously spent 4 years in student life. Also a 2012 graduate of Rockhurst, so clearly Rockhurst is near and dear to me. Just some identifying factors about me. I'm a member of the LGBT community. I've been with my partner Mike for 4 years now. I'm a huge Chiefs fan, so last night is still rough. Still mourning a little bit. Other than that, I'm a big weather nerd, love spending time at the lake with my family. And yeah, excited to be here and to be part of this conversation.
Thanks, Riley. And I'll let each of the panelists kind of jump in here. Who'd like to go next?
Well, I can do that. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, my name is Hyungi Yoon, and I came from South Korea in 2010 to study for my master's and doctoral degree. Since January 7, 2017, I'm a liturgical musician at campus ministry as a step, and I am an adjunct professor of music. I teach applied piano 1, 2, 3, and 4. Beside Rockhurst University, I am a liturgy and music director at Guardian Angels Catholic Church at Westport, Kansas City. I'm a chair of collegiate music competitions at the Missouri Music Teachers Association. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Julia Vargas, and I direct the Center for Service Learning here. I've been at Rockhurst now for 12 years, and in the role of connecting our students, our faculty, staff to different community organizations. I am also an adjunct professor in the Nonprofit Leadership Studies program.
Good afternoon. It feels like afternoon. It's been a long morning. We've had some changes here in the security department. So I am Captain Patterson, and it's a pleasure to be here for this panel, and look forward to good interaction.
Hi, my name is Joetta Mahan, and I am in the College of Health and Human Services. I've been at Rockhurst for 10 years. This is exciting for me. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you, panelists. We look forward to hearing from you. And with that, I'll kick it off with our first question. In the last listening session, we focused on students and belonging. The 2018 climate assessment said, campus climate influences individuals' sense of belonging within social and academic institutional environments. Put simply, the degree to which individuals experience a sense of belonging in their roles as students, faculty members, or staff frequently correlates with their intention to remain or persist in their roles at an institution. An important aspect of belonging is a community. Where or with whom have you found a community at Rockhurst, and what made it a welcoming community for you? What do you believe are barriers to staff belonging at Rockhurst? And what do you think could help improve staff's sense of belonging at the university? And whoever would like to go first is welcome to.
I can kick us off. I would say my first sense of community actually came from the previous role in student life. And I still consider that a big part of my community at Rockhurst. And I think a lot of it actually stems from group lunches, which is funny enough, pre-COVID, obviously. But having an opportunity for everyone to take a break from the workday and gathering and eating and talking about life really just, one, let me be my true self to my colleagues, and I have to talk in a work setting and in a work dialogue. But also just provided the opportunity to get to know people on a more personal level. So I think when that environment exists, people are more likely to get to know each other and take the time to learn, rather than just keeping it purely professional. Obviously, COVID now is putting a huge barrier on that personal connection. So I feel really badly for our new colleagues from St. Luke's. I feel really badly for people who are new employees right now who aren't getting that personal connection or those quick office pop-ins that we normally would. So I think really trying to make an effort to reach out and communicate and to get to know our new colleagues is really important right now.
Well, I'm working with the campus ministry team and Dr. Tim McDonald, and I'm very comfortable working with them. I fully feel they are supporting me, and we respect each other well and try to make proper communication. I think communication is the key. It is my honor to work with them at Rockhurst University, which I want to say.
I have a different story because I'm an office of one. So I didn't have, when I came to Rockhurst, a group of colleagues to be with and to make kind of my community. I had to search for that. And so searching for that in other staff members who had equal, desire to make change or social justice issues, or but I had to look really hard for that, and looking for that in faculty as well as I came on. There wasn't a natural fit for me. And so things that were meant to bring us together, like the President's Lunch or SAT gatherings, often felt very isolating because offices came together and I didn't have that. And so finding those, a lot of times it was finding faculty members who were engaged in service learning. And so I just, extended that relationship into, building the bridge of, oh, okay, let's kind of talk about something other than work as well. And then finding those other staff members who I would partner with and say, can we dream a little bit to do things differently?
I would say, interestingly, being in the security role, you're trying to create a community with everyone, and trying to meet the needs of so many different departments or entities. And so you create a community as you grow and learn more about the various departments and entities. I was able to quickly draw on the experience of a number of our officers that have been here for much longer than I have. And so that really helped to provide a base of community and support. And it's a continuous effort that takes place. But so much of what happens here reminds me of the school I attended years ago, but I'm in a different position, obviously, than when I was in school. So I found it rewarding to be here and to continue to grow and to continue to learn more about the different departments and their needs as we strive to meet the goals of this university.
When I first started, I was in a solo office. So it took me to make an effort to get out to meet and learn about other things and other people on the campus. But because of my personality, I was able to make those connections with people across the campus. It wasn't because they came to me. It was because I took the effort to get across the campus and to meet other people. And then because of my personality, those that crossed my path, I made those friendships. But it was students who really were the ones who gave me a sense of belonging, more so than the staff. And the faculty that I worked with, they embraced me. But I feel like if it wasn't for me being who I am, I probably would have never made those connections. That's just been my experience.
Great, thank you for that. The 2018 Campus Climate Survey also revealed work-life balance as a concern for staff. Are there any current practices that we've adopted, possibly even as a direct result of COVID-19, that have promoted better work-life balance for staff? And what opportunities still exist?
I don't know if we're planning on going in order this whole time, so I'll jump in again. But other panelists, feel free to go first with any of these. I really think COVID impacted people's work-life balance very differently depending on what department they're in. I think some people are able to shut their laptop and sign off for the day at 5 and not worry about anything until 8 a.m. the next morning, whereas other departments are working until late in the night trying to make sure students are staying safe and quarantining and isolating and getting COVID cases under control. So while I'm sure it did positively affect some people, I think unfortunately some of our colleagues really are taking a hit with COVID and a work-life balance.
The last semester I taught music piano lesson by Zoom. It was like horrible. It's very difficult. And then no, it's last semester. I'm sorry. And the last semester I decided to teach face to face, which is fine because we have a very big choir room at ARC, and there's only two pianos. One is for me and one is for my student. So between two pianos is like 12 feet, something like, so it's fine. But I think since I'm just doing face-to-face right now, and then I just came here to my office to work campus ministry stuff. So like my life actually did not change a lot of things before COVID and then after COVID. So I really do not be aware the difference. Also, I'm a part-time here, so it's probably I'm different than other full-time employees. Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, but sometimes I need to like talk after working hour because my student is not available, which is my not working hour. But sometimes we have better access by Wi-Fi. So it's easier to do Zoom anywhere. So some staff or professors, they need to talk to their student at 7 p.m., something like that. But before COVID, we never did it because it's not my working hour. It's my evening to enjoy my time to prepare next day. But due to COVID, we do sometimes like this lifestyle.
I think for me, it's the hardest thing is not being able to meet with my students because there's so many things that you can see in person that you can't tell through Zoom or through email or any of that. That has been one of the hardest things for me because when I'd meet with them in person, I could see more their body language and things are better to tell that if they're telling me what's really going on or if they're hiding some things that might be causing some of their issues. But it has been a real adjustment for me to do everything online as far as meeting with students to advise them and stuff than it has been to meet with them in person for that type of thing.
For me, the work-life balance is better because I get to see my kids more. I do a lot, so being at home working has allowed me the opportunity to spend more time with my family because I counsel in the evening. I'm a counselor, so counseling in the evening, I volunteer, I do so many things. So this being at home has truly been a blessing for me. I still get a chance to see my colleagues. We Zoom with each other and have some time for just to chit chat about what we're experiencing as we're working from home. So for me, it has been much better than feeling like I'm constantly in my car, zipping from one place to the other.
Work-life balance for me is an interesting concept. Being in a 24/7, 365 operation, you're constantly on call. I must say the technology has been helpful. One of the things we've tried to do is look at our staffing models inside office areas, and we are able to create more space, for lack of a better term. So things like Zoom have helped to provide a source of comfort, knowing that you're not all in one space together. So we've done that from officers being in the field, as well as within our dispatch operations and within the office space itself. So that's the technology piece. And when I say technology, Zoom, obviously texting a lot more than we've had to text in the past. All of that has been helpful. So, but you're still reacting continuously to the events of the of any given shift. So that's probably the best impact from our standpoint.
If I could build on that, spot on everything that Captain Patterson mentioned. We also have, in terms of the second prong of that question of what can we continue to do, or what other opportunities are out there, innovations born out of necessity, right? So we've had to look at how to pretty much guard our officers or provide them with the protective equipment to operate in every building, coming in contact with hundreds of students throughout the day, even outside community members, as well as neighborhood calls that they go on. So they're interacting in all capacities as if it was the same thing before COVID, but yet, so we have to provide them with a lot of different protocols. And so we pretty much have revamped everything that we do and how we do it, to even cleaning our vehicles and doing that before they come on shift and when they leave. All of those things come into play. One of the things that I think has been pretty neat in that we have been able to jump on some of the testing for law enforcement officers, where they can get tested when it was difficult to get testing, and still is to some extent, for COVID. And then also now we recently got pushed to the front of the line for also vaccine for all of our officers that want to. So that's huge for us. So continuing to push the envelope and to engage our multiple community partners to ask for that assistance only allows us to continue to stay online and be more engaged and continue that 24/7 protection for our community that we serve. So those are some of the opportunities that are still out there. And we don't know what's going to be next around the corner with the mutation of the viruses, and will we have to go through this again? So it's constantly something that we're looking at for new opportunities, but it has affected everything that we do. So thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Chief, because the next question I was going to ask kind of stems from that. That we know that there are differences that exist for staff. For instance, some of the workers that were considered essential and some experienced more flexibility. And so I asked the panel, what are things that we might do to support our essential workers on campus?
All right, we'll keep the theme going. I'll jump. I think one of the biggest things you can do to be supportive is say thank you, be appreciative for the work that they're putting in. Everything from security to grounds crew to custodial crew. I mean, they've all had to go above and beyond what they signed up for. And I think that this also is similar for other departments. Everyone has had to shift their way of proceeding, and a lot of that means that they need additional help. And so I think one way to be supportive of other departments and this essential work that we're doing is to volunteer when they ask for help, and be willing to step up and do something that's not technically in your job description, and help them pack PPE packets, help them be first responders, help them with competitive scholars going virtual for 2 weeks. I mean, it's all shifting and everyone is needing help in different manners now. And I think being willing to do a little bit more than what maybe your job description is really important right now.
Yeah, that's well put, Riley. And I mean, all the folks in the offices that you mentioned there, also, the administration, people who took pay cuts up on the top, but who really, our oldest child, our son is a first-year college student at a different school, and they've done well in terms of planning for COVID and reacting, but it's not as good of a plan as ours in terms of being able to preemptively say, okay, let's cancel this break, let's come back late. It's just made for a much more predictable experience for our students and their families and faculty and staff. But yeah, they've done a great job, and I frankly don't know what else to do other than, like you said, Riley, when they ask for help, try to respond I like to respond with food, but it's hard to do food nowadays. I don't know. I struggle with it sometimes because a lot of people have been really standing on their lips to make this happen.
I would simply say one of the biggest ways to help is constantly striving to just follow the basic guidelines as it relates to wearing a mask, cleaning your hands constantly, socially distancing. Those kinds of efforts are put in place to protect everyone. And whereas everyone may have a different view or opinion as it relates to that, knowing that we're a community of one, it would be helpful if everyone just tried their level best just to follow some of those very basic guidelines that have been placed out there, posted everywhere. That's a big help to any of the essential workers, trust me.
Again, I think this communication is the key, and I strongly believe most of the human adult case we can solve by proper communication, which means it's interaction to hear what they want, what is their difficulties. So I bet our university has somehow like survey or asked like essential workers, maybe. I hope so. But again, probably they have their difficulties, which I don't know it. Like let's say like cafeteria chefs, they are essential workers, and security officers like you guys. But I don't know your life, like what you are doing, all details. So you are the person, and your boss is the person who know what you are doing, and university need to hear and ask them what is their difficulties. That is the first step that we need to do.
Wonderful. Thank you for those thoughts. With our next question, I will open it up to both panelists and all of the staff on our Zoom today. So please feel free to share if you have any thoughts on our remaining questions here in our time together. It has been noted that Rockhurst battles losing dedicated and talented staff members because of a lack of opportunity for promotion and advancement. What are some of the barriers to staff retention you have noticed, and how might we be more responsive to these issues? I
can start first. For me personally, the university's refusal to sponsor my visa has been a big barrier. Many universities sponsor their employees' visas to help them keep the availability to work in this country. Rockhurst has refused to sponsor my working visa, making it very difficult for an immigrant such as myself. HR said they cannot support my working visa because I am a part-time employee, which makes me feel Rockhurst University do not care part-time employees. We have some adjunct professors like me. If we cannot support them, how can we keep those talented employees at Rockhurst? I graduated from MU with my master's and then UMKC for my doctoral degree. Compared to our university, there are tons of foreign professors, scholars, and staff members. Have you thought about why we do not have foreign employees here? This is disappointing for me, especially when Rockhurst strives to create an inclusive and diverse workforce. Also, the university does not seem to do much to take care of its employees, and in my experience, looks for little things to take away benefits to save money at the employee's expense. An example of this for me is the fact that I'm not a full-time employee and I don't receive full-time benefit, which are fine because I have this from the Diocese of Kansas City. But Rockhurst University offers a free parking pass for adjunct professors, but HR refused this because I have 2 positions, even though I'm still a part-time employee at Rockhurst and I'm only on campus 2 days, and which is 17 hours a week. This is not money issue, it is unfair. In my experience, Rockhurst preaches their values, but they do not practice them. Thank you.
I think another area in which there's that has an impact on retention of staff is, when you come to Rockhurst and if you want to continue your studies, you have to, and you would like assistance, and we have in our benefits an educational, assistance. It has to be a Rockhurst degree, but you cannot go into another program, another institution. It doesn't extend that far, and so as people want to better themselves, better look at a better career path, it makes it more difficult. And the fact that there really isn't a lot of, there isn't a direct career path outlined for staff members. If we see an opportunity on campus, we may, apply for that. But there's not a growing of our staff people because there's very little even professional development opportunities for staff.
To kind of continue that, I recently had a colleague tell me that they never had a supervisor or a higher up person ask what's next for them. What's the next step for them? What do they want next in their career? And I think for some reason that there is this taboo culture of supervisors not helping their people who report to them to grow in their career because they want them to kind of just stay there because we recruit really good talent, but then we don't want them to better us, I guess. So I really think establishing a culture of it's okay to help people grow in their career and realize that they want to move up, they want to move forward, and having those conversations and helping them build that skill set would help retain more staff members.
I think there's definitely inequality as far as the treatment of faculty versus the treatment of staff. And while that's not uncommon at universities with faculty receiving more privileges, their word being taken at a higher rate than staff, I've never seen it as divisive as it is at Rockhurst. Even so much as staff who have PhDs have to walk in the back of the line of commencement, while there might be faculty who don't have PhDs who get to walk in front of them. And I think it goes without saying that the pay at Rockhurst is not, while that can't be everything, and I think there's certainly benefits to working at our fine institution, when you compare salaries of what we do here and put it against like institutions, it's astonishing the difference that Rockhurst pays lower.
I think one of the things that is also a roadblock is the training of staff. I think there is very much a lack of training in the position because the person that they may be replacing is already gone, but there is nobody to train because they don't actually know exactly what that person did, even if it's in the job descriptions. But there is not a set training for certain jobs and things, or on certain systems that people need access to training for.
Would any others like to share on this topic before we move to our breakout rooms?
Yeah, oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, in addition to what Terry said about training, maybe from someone who's leaving to someone who's coming in, I also think that there can be some frustrations about lack of training for things that we're supposed to be using, such as Banner, Argo, Slate, all of those things. And I know that this has started to happen, that we've been trained on stuff in the Microsoft Office area, or, OneDrive. There are things that can make our jobs easier, but people just don't know those things because there's a lack of training around it. And so some of those people who get so frustrated with lack of efficiency and leave, that could be fixed if we were just trained on some stuff.
One thing I was going to add, for us, we're kind of an anomaly in that we have, I don't know, kind of a stand-alone department, if you will, because of the 24-hour nature of what we do. But some of the things I've done in my 5.5 years here applies to us, but may not be applicable to other units. But if it sparks an idea, then I'll just throw out some of the things that came to mind with the question. I'm probably in my 3.0 reorganization for the department, and I suspect I'll probably have another reorg coming up pretty soon. But because of money and limitations on the budget, I've had to become creative with just the new types of staffing that come in, people that are interested in this profession. So some of them are not always interested in the amount of money, although that is a big indicator, and we had to address that. But the other is the title. So I've looked at some creative ways of building career mobility and including an assistant supervisor step in between some of the other rank structures that we had. So that for some was enough interest for them to be in that leadership or perceived leadership role, and then engaging with them intentionally with new opportunities to get their ideas, and then having those ideas implemented in our policy and our daily practices. And then they get to see that, hey, what I say and my thoughts and being engaged can lead to practices that are being displayed out, which then leads to better opportunities of how we service and protect our community. So having those officers being engaged and seeing that direct impact and correlation has been kind of a beneficial for us outside of just trying to address the aspects of money. So that's been pretty good for us. And to piggyback on the comment about training, that's always been a big issue and a concern for us because it's directly related to budget, right? So we've been able to network with some of the outside agencies and share some of that cost, share some of that training, and that's been beneficial for us. So I think that is some of the things that served us well, that's helped us serve you all well. So, and we understand that for every $1 you put into training, you're going to get about a $6 return on it. So cut it, but in budget cuts, training is generally the first thing that gets cut. So we fight that because we understand for us to be at the top of our game, we have to stay engaged with our training for those best practices. So just food for thought, and that's just some of the things we've done. Thanks.
I don't know how many of you know me. My name is Amanda Given, and I'm actually in the HR department and new, and came in, just to play off of what Terry said, came in after my predecessor left. And so there was no laid out training, right? I didn't have an individual there who could show me the ropes the Rockhurst way, right? And so I came in kind of blind. And before I get into too much, I just wanted to say thank you to those of you who I have had interactions with, and your patience and your understanding and your compassion as I've navigated through the system, right, to learn this. But I also wanted to reach out and just say thank you to everybody for the comments today, because honestly, being in the HR department and also hearing the struggles that you're going through helps to give me some sense of direction as to how I can better help you all, and to give feedback and to get back with our department and have those conversations about how we can improve the communication for the things that maybe are out there where that information has not been shared, and also to improve the things that aren't out there so that everybody feels welcome and involved and a part of Rockhurst, whether you're part-time faculty or full-time faculty or staff, because those things that are being expressed today are definitely vital. And it just being a human being, the compassion that I have, it breaks my heart that those things are an issue, right? And that people at Rockhurst feel that way and feel like they're not included or not important. So I just wanted to say that your voices are being heard, and I will share as much as I possibly can, not disclosing names, right, but situations, so that we can do better to improve and to help everybody feel welcome. So thank you.
So I know, sorry, did I cut someone off? Julia had mentioned about the education, if you wanted to get higher education, and it wasn't a degree that Rockhurst offered, then you pretty much was on your own. I was one of those people who went back to get my master's, and I went to another higher learning institution, and there was no support from Rockhurst. I don't see any advancement or any growth for myself at Rockhurst. So probably in order for me to advance or to grow in my career, I'm going to have to leave, because that's going to be the best opportunities that are out there. I'm going to have to seek them elsewhere. There's none for me here. But I have enjoyed being at Rockhurst. I have made great friends. I have learned a lot of things. But unfortunately, I will probably have to take all of that knowledge and go somewhere else to utilize it. When I first came to Rockhurst, I was gave a set of keys, an office, and said, here you go, figure it out. And I did. I figured it out. I made my way. But I hope for the next person coming behind me, they don't have to have that struggle.
I'd like to just say something quick about the education piece too, and thank you, Joetta, and Amanda. Nice to meet you. I haven't met you yet. For those of us that have that desire to earn an advanced degree, whether here at Rockhurst or elsewhere, there really is no incentive to do so. And whether that be a monetary incentive, driven and passionate about earning that degree. And in my case, and this is true of many of my fellow staff mates who have done the Masters of Arts in Organizational Leadership, we have literally done nothing throughout that program, but analyze this institution, right? I mean, everything we've done has been looking through a critical lens at our own places of work. And so for those of us that work here, we're looking at Rockhurst and doing a lot of great study and analysis and planning. And then, like I said, as I'm kind of getting ready to wrap that degree up, I'm kind of like, well, what do I do with that now? And there is no real avenue, I guess, to even share some of that. And then, like I said, much less, there really is no incentive for people to continue to pursue, higher degrees. So.
And follow up, one last comment on that, or I don't know if it's the last comment, but I also am concerned about folks that are in different departments. I think a physical plant, how do we make sure that they have the opportunity to move forward, to advance, to do things differently? How do we change a stereotype about a role and a whole community of folks? That is a huge, I think, barrier. And it's something that's an embarrassment to me about Rockhurst. As much as I love about Rockhurst, that is not a good thing from our staff. And how do we make this more equitable across the board for us all?
Thank you all for, am I interrupting someone? Thank you all for your comments. Um, we wanted to provide space for people to share in the large space, and we've kind of pivoted today to honor the good conversation that's happening here. We had planned for time for breakouts space for people to also share, but as we have gone along today, I think we we have engaged in a good and productive conversation. And so I think Janae, if you're okay with this, I think we'll stay in the larger group, and then I'll invite folks who want to share um, other things that they would like to, that they can come and speak with me if that's okay. And we'll forego the breakout session for today because we want to honor people's time, but we also want to be adaptable and flexible. So there was one last question. Well, there is a question that we asked the panelists to reflect on, and that's about the future. So there's a growing number of retirement eligible employees at Rockhurst. And one of the questions that I am thinking about is how do we attract an increasingly diverse and multi-generational workforce? As we think about, some of the changes that we've made with regards to COVID, there might be implications for having a multi-generational workforce. So I wonder what are some of your ideas about that? And I welcome all to comment.
I think this is something being worked on now from excuse me, an HR perspective, but how are our hiring practices being changed, updated, and how we ask questions, what the job requirements are, to make sure that it, again, I use that word, more equitable and more open to applicants for these positions. And I think that is something being looked at right now, but I'd like to hear more about that.
I think one thing that could help is maybe phased retirement for staff. They have it for faculty, but do not have it for staff. And I think that might be a way to help with training and stuff for the incoming and multi-generational staff that follow those that are getting closer to retirement.
Really quickly, I'm needing to hop off to switch over to competitive scholars, but wanted to say thank you for letting me be part of the panel this morning and hope to be a part of future conversations. So thank you.
One thing I would say quickly is just the importance of communicating not only where we are as an institution, but who we are and where we're going. With the addition of the nursing school to our overall offerings, I think it's important that we communicate to those who we're trying to attract where they can find a home, how they can find a home. Why is Rockhurst a home? I know from a security standpoint, one of the things we have to constantly look at is how do we tweak our job notices? How do we alert people about the opportunities that exist within the security department? And I believe it's working, some of the adjustments we've made, but it really comes down to being able to communicate effectively with those that you're trying to attract. When you're talking about a multi-generational cluster that you're trying to get, it's not a one size fits all. So that would be my take as we look at that.
Yeah, I would piggyback on that. It's kind of like beginning with the end in mind. With us again trying to facilitate that 24/7 operation, I'm looking for younger officers, middle age, older, experience, intermediate experience. I'm looking for a whole host of types of individuals within the job market that would be interested with us as opposed to our competitors, right? So there's a lot going on in that, and I know and appreciate that I have to have that diversity. Without that diversity, I would not be successful. Because each individual at their stage, with their experience, with their ethnicity, their culture experiences, brings a deep bench to our department in terms of its understanding and how we serve and protect our community and understand and communicate with our community. So it's essential to our heartbeat of what we do, right? So everyone that I hire, I'm looking at what's our core values, what's our strategic plan, how does this individual perceivably fit into this? You know, do I see a character issue, any integrity issues, or their ability to communicate, their willingness to communicate? All of those things are built into our interview process so that we can make sure that we're getting as best we can with that platform, the person that's going to fit into our community, because we know what our community deserves and respects, right? So that's difficult. Again, with the new generations, a lot of them, they want to come in and in 3 months, they want to be the chief. So how do I keep them engaged and let them know I plan on being here for a while, so we may have to find other things for you to be successful with. So again, there's ways that we have been successful in doing that. And that's what I spoke to earlier about getting them engaged and letting them create policy and have direct input and then see that manifest in our daily operations. That's just one of many things that we do. But our hiring process had to be revamped to be built around that infrastructure so that we can begin to get those individuals. And we've gone through some people that didn't fit, and we've had to make some changes. But I think we're all going to be better for doing that. Kathy Patterson there is an example of that, of those caliber of type of people that we're after. And everyone that I hire, I'm asking myself, does this person have leadership potential? In 3 years, will I be able to promote them? Or are they a self-leader now? You know, those are the things that, and if they're not, if I can't get them there, then they're probably not going to be a good fit for us, because I believe everybody is a leader or has the opportunity to. So those, I think, are the opportunities that we look at. And then in terms of the maturity aspect of it, there's a ton of people leaving the law enforcement right now. And so I'm reaching out to them and talking about our community here at Rockhurst and how they can be a part of their continuing their career in law enforcement and public safety here at Rockhurst, so that they can still feel engaged and be a part of that. So those are some of the things on both ends from spectrums that I'm working with. Thanks. Sorry, I didn't mean to go so long.
You're good, Chief. Thank you all so much for your responses and your engagement today. I want to thank Janae, and all of the panelists and all of you participants who gave voice to your experience. I want to, like I said, we pivoted today to continue the conversation, but again, I want to extend the invitation to speak if you all would like, if you didn't feel comfortable speaking up in this setting. But I also would like to ask you to reflect on what you've heard here today, and reflect on the ideas that you heard, and what do you think should be added to the conversation? And are there actions or steps that we should take that you believe would make Rockhurst a more inclusive community for staff, a more diverse and inclusive community, and equitable community for staff? Please don't hesitate to reach out via email or any other form of communication. I'm happy to get on a call, Zoom, whatever, email. Just let me know your thoughts. And thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks. Have a great afternoon, everybody.